the wonderful accomplishments of Dr. Scott Annin, our outstanding professor. And to talk a little bit about Scott and give you the background on why he was so wonderful in achieving this award, I'd like to welcome our president, Dr. Garcia, to the podium.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Buenos dias. What an amazing day. You know, on the flyer for this event, the subject of the talk, Mountaintop Moments in Mathematics, is summarized in a short paragraph that begins with the following sentence, and I quote, "You've probably heard of the aha moment. A student and teacher share that moment when learning and discovery happen." As a faculty member, I know this aha moment very well, but leading 3 universities over the past 15 years, I have learned that there is a similar aha moment between a president and a faculty member. The moment that we presidents recognize a superstar professor, whether it be from meeting them at an event and hearing their passion for their work, or reading about them in national and international publications. In the case of Dr. Scott Annin, our 2015 outstanding professor honoree, there were many such aha moments. And they started coming shortly upon my arrival at the university, would you believe, in 2012. Time flies when you're having fun. He had just been promoted to full professor and already boasted an incredible track record of undergraduate research with many scholarly publications and student presentations at state, national, and international levels. Essentially, he was hitting on all the strategic plan hits, those goals that he did before the strategic plan was here and before we started calling them PIPs. A longtime advisor in the Math Club and the 2012 winner of the NSM Dean's Outstanding Award for contributions to student success, Dr. Annin's achievements are endless. But for me, the most recent aha moment came a little over a year ago when I received a letter from him highlighting the fact that more than 1,000 students and mentors from nearly 100 institutions attended the 2014 Southern California Conference for Undergraduate Research, a program he co-directed as a 10-year veteran of the group's Board of Directors. Aha, I thought to myself. This guy is not only leading our HIP charge, he's the driving force to become the public model comprehensive university of the nation. In my response letter to Dr. Annin, I wrote, "It is Titans like you who set the bar for what it means to reach higher, and I am honored to serve with you." A few months later, I received another letter, this time from the Outstanding Professor Committee, recommending him as the 2015 recipient of the Outstanding Professor Award. The aha moment. Of course he was going to get that award. I present to you Dr. Scott Annin.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here today, and thank you all for coming. Thank you, Dr. Garcia, for that wonderful introduction. I really appreciate that. And thanks to the Faculty Development Center for hosting and sponsoring this event today. It's a great pleasure to be here with all of you. I have a few more people I need to thank, a few groups of folks that I had to take pictures of. This is about as close as I could come to getting most of the math department together for a single picture at the same time. These folks have supported me ever since I stepped foot on this campus 14 years ago, and I have to say thank you to all of my colleagues in the math department for supporting me and encouraging me to do the things that I love to do. And especially to the guy sitting right next to me in that photograph who nominated me for this, Stephen Good, my very dear colleague and friend. Thank you for everything you've done for me too. I appreciate that. I also want to take a moment to thank all of the students who have crossed my path over the last 14 years. I would not be here if it were not for them. They have inspired me. They've given me a great deal of passion for what I do. They've really given it back to me. And there's so many people that I would love to recognize individually how they've contributed to my to my career here. I just don't have time for that, but I do take lots of pictures. Some of these students are here with us today, and I'm very grateful to all of you guys for coming out and supporting me on this presentation. So what I'm going to talk about today is kind of where I came from as an undergraduate at the University of Nebraska. I had a very fortunate academic track. I had professors who invested in me, who gave me research experience opportunities, who allowed me to be parts of various different teams and groups of people. I had a lot of intimate mentoring, personal mentoring. And one of the things when I came to Cal State Fullerton that was important to me, and I constantly strive to do, is find ways to have intimate, personal interactions with the students that cross my path. At a university this large, that can be a challenge, but I really wanted to do that. I wanted to have a personal, top-rate educational experience for as many students as I could possibly reach. And with that will come those aha moments. They tend to happen not in large, huge places, but in those personal, very small, intimate situations when you're interacting with students. The aha moment in math is especially noteworthy. The mathematicians in the room will think about the fact that they've had students who feel like they're in the dark. They just don't get it. They don't understand what's going on. And all of a sudden, the light comes on. It's like that. And you could work for hours and hours and hours and get nowhere. And then all of a sudden, the light comes on. You have that aha moment. And what a great feeling that is for both the student and the mentor, the instructor, when those things happen. So to the extent that I could think about ways of having a personal, top-rate experience for my students, the better off I figured that my students would be. So, I want to try and have some takeaways for you today from the presentation, and one of them is going to be, are there ways that we can create more of these aha moments? I'm going to start calling them mountaintop moments. I like to climb mountains. I get to the top of these beautiful peaks and I see a view that I never saw before, something from a different perspective. So I'll sometimes refer to them in those terms. But how can we create more of these aha moments or mountaintop moments? I'm going to talk about 4 main points, and many of these are things that will perhaps seem obvious to you. In that case, view it as a celebration. Celebrate that we can think of this as a celebration of what many of us here at Cal State Fullerton are doing. We have so many faculty, so many staff that have given so generously of their time to mentor the students that cross their path. So I'm going to start off with "Time is Love." I put that in quotes because that's the title of a song that I happen to like. But that simple little phrase captures so much. If you want to know what people love, look at how they spend their time. I want my students to look at me and see that I'm spending my time doing what I do every day here, which is to be a professor, to be a mentor. And so time is love is very important to me. There's many places and ways that we can demonstrate this to our students, whether it's a research meeting in a faculty member's office, or going to a conference with a group of our students, or watching some of our students receive awards for their work. These are when we invest our time and actually go to the energy to recognize what our students are doing and participate in their success. I think that those sorts of things are very valuable to the students. Attending research conferences, this is a number of students giving talks in the math world and taking pictures, of course. It doesn't have to all be about academics. The math club plays against the physics club every year in basketball. I think they have another game this week, so that'll be coming up. And I was a mentor for the racquetball club here at Cal State Fullerton for a number of years as well. It could just be in those everyday moments outside of the classroom where your students hopefully see a little bit of the human side of you, not just the fact that you have knowledge and you have all these hard-edged skills as a professor, but that you actually are somebody relatable. And so when they see you outside of the classroom, I think that those things can happen. So this, of course, takes a lot of time to do. The second main point is support communities. Creating support communities, and wow, do we have a lot of support communities at Cal State Fullerton for our students. Absolutely amazing. In the math club, in the math department, we have a couple of organizations, the Math Club and the Smart Girls. These two groups of students, oops, I lost, there we go. These two groups of students hang out all the time. They support one another in their academic endeavors as well as in their social development. We also put together a Putnam team. For those of you who don't know, the William Lowell Putnam exam is the hardest math test in the country. It's a national exam that's given every year. There are 120 points available on this competition. Typically, 1 or 2 points is the average out of 100 points. A very challenging exam. You need a support community if you're going to participate in a competition like that. So, but we have fielded teams in the Putnam for a number of years. Of course, watching students go to conferences and supporting them in doing so, and in their research activities and class projects. The students are helping one another out, and the faculty mentors are helping those students to achieve that success as part of that support community. Supplemental instruction is something that's going on across the campus, but the math department has certainly made a big deal about that. Not just the students who are receiving the benefits of the teaching that the supplemental instruction leaders are giving, but those leaders themselves are a community, a support community for one another. And Harriet Edwards ran the tutoring center in the math department for a number of years, and I think Jolene Harris is doing it now. And that's another place where this mentoring is developed, and the students are enriched through that. We have a Fullerton Math Circle, which has a number of our undergraduates teaching the K through 12 students who are trying to hone their problem-solving skills. Dr. Suchava has done a great job with that. Turns out, though, that, well, what I'm going to do here is put up a whole bunch of big blue letters. The thing that's missing from some of this stuff is the financial resources. You start to think about how much time, time is love. It takes a lot of time to do a lot of these things, to go to conferences with your students, to be an advisor for a club, and so on and so forth. So a couple years ago, a colleague of mine and myself decided to try and write a grant that would bring in some resources to the math department, some financial resources, to help make this a little bit easier for faculty members, and also to help support students even more than we already are able to. This is called the Graduate Readiness and Access in Mathematics Program. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about it because we're just getting this program underway as we speak. In fact, we should be ready to introduce the first cohort of students very shortly. We want to look for students who aspire to go to graduate school, who want to further their education beyond just a bachelor's degree. It's a $600,000 four-year program, and we're particularly hoping to support underrepresented students, disadvantaged math majors. We want to give them, of course, undergraduate research experience, opportunities to go to conferences, to network. Those things are a part of a lot of programs, REU programs and so on. But there's a few other things we're hoping to do as well. We would like to train our students to be good at comprehending and communicating mathematics. We want to particularly focus on that. It's actually possible sometimes to do research without really having that experience of trying to understand deeply what's going on, in the underpinnings of whatever it is that they're studying. So we want to focus on just reading and communicating mathematics. We also want to involve the family members of the students that will be in our program. A lot of times underrepresented and disadvantaged students tend to have family members who aren't aware of the value of completing a college degree and going on to graduate school. We want to bring these family members to